Welcome back, guys. I'm Knuckles Glass. Today we're going to make a directional Mariah carb cap. Only takes about 5 minutes. We're going to use a couple of different pieces of glass, a 7mm rod, a 12x2 blow tube. For our tools, we're going to use a pair of tweezers, marver pad, the L marver on the top of my torch, and the blow tube comes in handy. All right, here we go. So I'm going to pick up my first punty here and pretty much just clean up the ends of these. When I first cut the punties off the long rod, they're going to have a lot of scuzz on the end. So I want to pull all the nasties off the end and make them real clean and smooth. That way, when they do hot seals, they won't have any bubbles in them. These are going to be the aesthetically pieces that are going to be added to it. One will be the handle and one will be cold seal punty. So then I'll use the annealing flame to warm up my 12x2 blow tube. Doesn't take long, but heat that up. Pretty much go straight in to make this nice straight handled seal. This is my third punty. Stick them together, a little bit of pull. You want this seal to be perfectly straight. The more straight you can make this, the better your Mariah is going to come out in the end. You want to go about 1.5 inches or a good inch or so above where you put your handle. Come in slow into the flame and just even nice rotation, even heat, and push together a little bit. Let the heat do most of the work, but a nice good force pushing together makes the Mariah stand up real nice. So I'm still pushing a little bit when I come out of the flame, but then we go straight into the L marver from each side, making sure that Mariah stands up perfectly straight. See, I've got a little bit of blow tube left on the handle side. That's going to be our noodle that we'll make. Attach my blow tube. This blow tube makes it so I can blow into that little last section in case it starts to close up too tight on me. I'll get that nice and ripping hot to condense it down, and then I'll go straight into the L marver here and marver that to condense it real nice and tight. We want a small, skinny little noodle. Give it a little bit of a pull, reheat that up again, real nice and hot, and then we'll pull it out and make it a nice curved tube so that it'll be a nice directional tube. So once you got the shape you like, you're going to tear the handle off of there, pick away as much glass as you need to get the right length and to make sure that that hole is going to be popped exactly where we want it. And then when I pop this hole, I pretty much just blow while it's in the flame. And I keep rotating it and blowing, and it makes a nice little noodle on the end. As long as you're blowing while it's in the flame, it shouldn't close up and seal on you. So here we're going to attach a cold seal, a punty, and we're going to heat up the punty real hot, just a little bit of heat on the carb cap, and we'll get a nice cold seal that we can tear off later. About 1 inch from that cold seal, we want to heat up a wide section, and we're going to pull that to center, so it's a lot easier to rotate and attach our handle and make sure everything's on center towards the end. Adjust my flame a little tighter. Now that we got a handle on that side, we can go in and tear off the blow tube. I'm going to use this last 7mm to pick open a hole on the top. When you pick open this hole, it doesn't really matter how big it is. The airflow is going to be controlled by that little noodle on the bottom of the cap. Make it nice and smooth. Give it a little paddle to make sure it's flat. Always polish whenever you use the graphite paddle. And then we're going to go straight into attaching the handle and make a hot seal on this one. So we want it really, really white hot on both sides. One stick and pull will make a nice seal. So about 1 inch up from that, we're going to heat it up and make a little crank in as well, just like we did on the other side. This will give us a little S-curve for our handle. And this is going to be where we're going to gather up some glass for the Mariah on the top of the cap. Get a nice little gather going and use my paddle to squish that flat. I use lots of little squishes and then I can get it nice and centered even if my gather isn't perfect. Going with my hand torch. If you got this seal perfect on the first try, you don't really have to use the hand torch, but I always like to go and butter it in and make sure everything looks nice and smooth. If you got any acute angles in there, it'll definitely crack, and this is probably the weakest point on the cap. So you want to be sure that's a nice strong seal. Just heat it up sectionally, quarters as people call it. Use the tip of your torch to make minor adjustments. You can polish the end of that cap as well. And the last move here is to pull off that cold seal and then go straight over to my L marver and touch right where it's hot to the corner of that marver, and it pulls right off. I saw Yushin do that in a demo and it's stuck in my mind and it's worked ever since. And there we are.